Hi, I'm Andrew Halsman of Family Tree Counseling Associates. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I work in Carmel, Indiana, but I'm reachable by phone at 317-457-8668 or A. Holzman, Holzman, 2 at Comcast.net. And I work with individuals, I work with couples, and I work with families. My specialty is working with relationships, marriage therapy. I had a client a while back mention that he said that every day felt like his birthday, and this was a person who had a shopping and buying addiction. So I'm entitling this video, Every Day's My Birthday, a Shopping and Buying Addiction. And this is a person who, when he would order something online and he would get it through the mail, and the UPS guy would come or the FedEx guy would come, he felt excited. Every day was his birthday. Every day felt great to him. Every day he got a little present. So it wasn't just the shopping, it was the arrival of something that gave him pleasure. Now, shopping, buying things, obviously for most people is under control. But for a great deal of Americans, and the estimate is 20 to 30 million right now, have spending habits that get them in trouble, and they have debt totaling somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 or more. I have one client who she is in debt to the IRS for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and she earns a good income, her family earns a good income, but and these are kind of, her income fluctuates because she's a salesperson. And so in the years when she's doing well, she would overspend, and that would create all kinds of issues for not only herself, but for her spouse and for her kids and for her life. And so now she ends up with several $100,000 worth of debt, and not only debt to companies and to medical institutions, but to the IRS for not paying taxes. So there's all kinds of issues that can happen if you spend too much money, of course. Most people talk about money as an issue in their relationship. And money by itself, of course, is a big issue because you don't have the safety and the security of having enough for a rainy day. But then there's the issues of, what about the spouse who is trying to hold things together and doesn't feel heard, doesn't feel validated for their worries and for their pain and their fears? So anxiety, stress, safety, control, validation, different ways we can talk about that finances can create issues in the relationship. So finances, anxiety, stress, these are things that someone who has a shopping and buying addiction, and when I mean shopping and buying, when I mean addiction, actually, addiction is some way that we take care of ourselves. Addiction can be, for most people, they think of alcohol addiction or drug addiction. And those are ways that people have learned to feel good, that they feel stress and they want to feel better. They don't want to feel pain anymore, or that it's pleasurable. I've heard that a person who has their drug of choice for the first time feels like they're coming home again. So coming home again, feeling like you're alive, feeling like you're relaxed, or that you're valued, or that you matter in some ways, that you feel like you're powerful, that you're in control. That's a very heady mixture of emotion, and certainly a way that people would want to keep on doing. So if it's alcohol, they're going to keep on drinking. If it's drugs, they're going to keep on using that particular drug. They're going to find ways to take care of themselves and reduce their anxiety and increase their pleasure. For shopaholics, this is a way to feel like you're getting a present, feel like you're valued, feel like you're cared about. So there are different types of shopaholics. You might have the codependent shopaholic who buys gifts for everyone. This is the person who bribes, in a sense, other people to love them by spending money. And they spend money and they take care of people and they give them gifts, and people love that, and people love them and feel, cared about. And that can be very heady, to be cared about and to be loved and to be wanted in that way. But if it's something that works and you keep doing it and you keep doing it to your ruin, and you're not really talking and sharing what's going on with you with other people, then that creates a big financial hole. And it isn't a very direct way of getting love. It's a way of buying love. So that's one way that shopping can get you in trouble. There are other types of compulsive shoppers. There's the trophy hunter, the person who's always looking for the perfect thing that will make them feel better. It might be the perfect pair of shoes. It might be the perfect TV. It might be the perfect sound system. It might be the coin that's eluded you for so long. And so there are trophy shoppers. There are bulimic type shoppers who are never satisfied, and they're always buying something and then returning it and buying and returning. So it's like bulimia, where you're eating and purging. You're just not satisfied. You're not feeling like you look good, or that what you're doing is worthwhile in some way. And then there's the collector, the person who's collecting one particular subject or object. The collector is looking for the Hummel figures, or they're looking for the collector plates, or they're looking for the toy truck or the Matchbox cars that they've had when they were a kid. They're finding ways that these things represent, and they feel good. They represent something that means something to them, and it gives them pleasure to collect. There's nothing wrong with any of these types of shopping, I want to state, except for when it gets to be out of control. And that's what we're talking about, the addiction part of it. There are image shoppers. Those are folks who are shopping to look good and to keep up with the Joneses and to surpass the Joneses and to surpass everyone else, to have that, the bigger car and the bigger boat and the fancier duds and the better ring. These are persons who are just trying to show off and they overspend, and they can, you can spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on image, and that can really get you in trouble unless you're someone like Bill Gates, someone who can, Warren Buffett, someone who can afford that. And even those people would not be the rich people they are today if they spent like that. Then on the other side of it, there are bargain shoppers, and those might be the people you would think of as hoarders, the people who shop to find things that make them feel good because they're getting a great deal. And so they're haunting garage sales, and they're haunting Goodwill, and they're finding clothing, or they're finding objects, radios, or electric can openers. It can be anything. And these are the folks who fill their house with all types of great deals, great bargains, usually things that they don't use and things that just pile up and collect dust. And when their family comes to clean it out, if that ever happens, they're amazed at all the junk that's around. So you have different types of shoppers. You have bargain shoppers, you have trophy shoppers, you have collectors, you have bulimic, you have compulsive shoppers. That's another type of shopper, person who just shops and shops and shops and indiscriminately will buy different types of things. Like I said, all of these types of shoppers are finding ways to work off anxiety and stress, just like anyone who has an addictive process. And just telling them to stop doing it probably is not going to be as powerful as you would hoped it would be. Even if they're smart and logical people, that's when you have an addictive process, as they found out over the years, whether it's alcohol or in this case shopping, it's not going to stop the person from wanting to feel good and take care of themselves and reduce their anxiety. So a shopaholic group, Debtors Anonymous, I've had a client go there, individual therapy, therapy groups, finding some way to talk about what's below the surface here, what safety issues, trust issues, how this is kind of morphed into taking care of themselves by doing something destructive. you have to see that at first. It's hard to see that when you're getting pleasure out of it. So the person has to be motivated, and usually that's when they talk about a person hitting bottom. So this one client I had who lost several jobs because he would spend money on the company's corporate credit card and then get caught. And this would take years, but he lost a few jobs this way. And by that point, he was ready to come into therapy and to look at his behavior because it was not working for him. Of course, this was an intelligent professional who was good at his job and got all kinds of great reviews, but wasn't able to keep a job because he would sabotage it. So sabotaging is a problem with addiction, of course. You're being secretive, you're scared, you do something that you know is wrong, but it's hard to stop yourself. And that's when it's important to look at the deeper pieces to this, the family of origin, the things that force you or push you in that direction to take care of yourself in destructive ways. We all do destructive things, but hopefully we don't do things that are so destructive that they ruin our lives, ruin our finances, ruin our families. But some people do. And when they do, that's when they're past the stage where they're hiding it and they're not admitting to themselves how destructive it is, that they can hopefully get into some kind of recovery and look at their behaviors and change their behaviors, because changing behaviors is possible. Alcoholics do go to AA and stop drinking. It's hard, and there's often recidivism where people fall back with any addiction, but it is possible. People can, when they're in pain enough, when they're motivated enough, work through these issues, look at themselves. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot of dedication, and stress will bring up the issues to want to spend again. So this particular man I was talking about, when he would be stressed at work, was when he would spend on this corporate card. And I had another client who, she was a professional and she was getting a lot of blowback for being a woman in a man's world. So she was working with these misogynistic boss and co-workers, and this would stress her out, and that would be a way that she would not say anything about that because she was trying to just get along. And she was codependent meaning that she was not comfortable being direct, not comfortable raising the stink, talking to someone who might help her, talking to HR. And sometimes that doesn't help because sometimes people don't have the proof, or HR is trying to cover itself. But she didn't even go that far, and so she just kept it in. And the way that she relieved her anxiety was to go online and buy things. And this created an issue for the family because she was buying things that created problems in terms of their finances, created problems in terms of the relationship with her husband. So there are lots of ways that people take care of themselves, and sometimes they can go out of control. Like I said, it's millions of Americans who are in financial debt for buying things that they don't need. And if you buy things that you don't need too often, if it's just like any other addiction, you're going to be in trouble. And like I said, it's not just about money, it's about the relationship and the family and where you come from and what you learned in your family. How do you take care of yourself and your family? Anyway, thank you for listening. There is help for any type of addiction. Shopping addiction is just another type of addiction. Shopping, buying is a way that someone is avoiding working through whatever other pains, anxieties they have in their life. So if you're interested, please give me a call, 317-457-8668, or aholzman2@comcast.net. I'm Andy Holzman, and it was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.